Welcome to iStar PMIS. Hi, my name is Tom Denai, and I'm the founder and principal consultant of iStar PMIS and the sole author of the product iStar PMIS, a comprehensive project management information system. Today I'm going to be your host while we walk through the tutorial on the charting and graphing dialog. Not only are we going to review the PowerPoint tutorial on the charting and graphing dialog, we are also going to actually sign on to the iStar PMIS web system, navigate to the charting dialog, and do some interactive charting and graphing. If you find yourself getting a little lost during this charting tutorial, you might want to go back and take or retake the introduction to iStar PMIS tutorial. The last time I timed this presentation, it took about 30 minutes to complete, so you might want to budget a half hour of uninterrupted time to get the full benefit of listening. Okay, let's get started by actually signing on to the iStar web system. Whoops. Wrong password. Okay, here we are at the abbreviated sitemap, the main menu, and over here under the reports we have the chart generator. And here's the screen for the chart generator dialog. The project number where you identify the project you're working with, the project and chart title that goes along with that, and here's where all your time series data is displayed, the date and the hours or the dollars. And on the bottom we have the action buttons, and over on the lower left here we have the help screen denoted by the question mark, and right here we have the chart tutorial PowerPoint presentation. Not all of the dialogues have a tutorial that go along with them. This is rather unique because it's a little bit more complicated than your average dialogue. So let's select the chart tutorial and bring up the PowerPoint presentation. We'll center it here. The Burndown Chart Generator dialog provides a place to select, manage, and store the time series required to generate a burndown chart. 3 time series in the chart's title are required to be selected and stored before a chart can be generated. You must select and store the project plan, the project's forecast, and the project's cumulative actual hours, along with the project's title before you can generate the first baseline chart. You prepare the baseline plan by first using the scheduler to prepare a baseline schedule for the plan. The scheduler prepares a behind-the-scenes file that is then imported into the Burndown Chart Generator dialog when you press the Get New Plan button for your designated project. Of course, you must have defined and assigned the project's tasks before you can prepare a plan schedule. In subsequent weeks, you will prepare a new forecasted schedule based upon actual performance as captured by iStar PMIS via the status reports. Then you will import the new forecasted schedule for the new burndown chart for that week. For the first baseline chart, you enter the project number, get new plan, save plan, get new forecast, save forecast, get the current actuals, save the current actuals, get the project title, and save the chart title. You may edit the chart's title before saving. The buttons first page plan, forecast, actuals, and title recall the data that has been stored in the Burndown Chart Generator's files after import. This is the Save Baseline Plan where the dates and planned hours are displayed. This is the saved forecast. Notice that for the baseline plan and the forecast are the same. These are the saved cumulative actual hours. Notice that it is possible for there to be accumulated hours prior to the generation of the baseline chart. Perhaps these hours were used to define the project definition and its requirements, prepare the work breakdown structure, assign the tasks, and work through the basic schedule. After all of the time series has been defined to the Burndown Chart Generator dialog, you can generate the chart by pressing the Prepare Chart button. And here's our first Burndown chart. Notice that both the plan and forecast match for the initial baseline plan. The plan will be in blue and will remain so throughout the life of the project. The forecast is initially green, and the forecast will change when the actuals come in, and the actuals will be displayed as either black, yellow, or red, depending on the variance to plan. Yellow will be 0 to 10%. Overages more than 10% are red. The first two columns contain the totals. This becomes important as the project proceeds. What you'll see is the plan remaining the same and the total forecast going up or down depending on the progress of the project. The actual hours will not be displayed here until the first week transpires. And here is where the cumulative actual hours are displayed. These hours were accumulated before the baseline plan was prepared. The steps required to prepare the next week's Burndown chart are as follows. Approve the status reports and timesheets to capture the week's activity. Use the scheduler to prepare the forecasted schedule to import the new forecast into the Burndown chart generator. Import the new forecast, import the new cumulative actual hours, prepare the chart, and interpret the chart. Here's what the next week's forecast that you need to import and save. Do not import and save a new plan, or you'll be starting all over and will not show the difference between the actuals with a new forecast to the baseline plan. And the week's cumulative actuals that you need to import and save. Press the chart button and we have our next week's Burndown chart. During the last week, 10 hours were booked to a task that had previously been marked as 100% complete. 0 hours and no progress were reported on the project plan's tasks. The 10 hours show up in the totals column, and the minus 10 shows up in the forecasted column. The minus 10 is the negative burndown for this week. Notice that we're yellow here, and all the bars have turned red. As expected, the entire forecast had shifted to the right by 1 week. All the bars turn red because each individual forecasted bar is greater than or equal to 10% of the plan for that specific week. Notice that the forecasted total is now 481, the 471 plus 10, and that the forecasted bar's color has turned to yellow because there is an overage that is greater to 0 and less than 10%. And here we have our 133. That represents the cumulative hours for the entire project. 123 at the onset plus the 10. You can also see that the forecast at this point in time is still 471, the same as the plan. but it's red because it shifted back 1 week. We should have had burn down here, and we didn't have any. We repeat the steps required to prepare the next week's burndown chart. Here we are at week 2. The remaining forecast is 337 hours. 70 actual hours were charged to the project, with 134 hours of budgeted work complete for a positive cost performance for this week. Here we have the 70 actual and the 134 actual burn down for that week. Notice that the forecasted total is now 417. The current forecast is 337 plus the actual hours of 80. The forecasted bar's color has turned to green. 417 is also equal to the 417 original plan hours plus 80 hours minus the 134 actual burn down hours. All the bars are still red because each individual forecasted bar is greater than or equal to 10% for the plan for that week. And here we have the 203 total, the 123 plus the 80. We repeat the steps required to prepare the next week's burndown chart. After the third week, the remaining forecast is 236 hours. 80 actual hours were charged to the project, with 101 hours budgeted work completed for a positive cost performance for this week. So we've got the 80 and the 101. Notice the difference here, 471, 396. We got a 76 here. The 76 represents the difference between the 471 and the 396. This is the total project burn down that's positive that we've encountered so far through the project. As we can see, cost-wise, we're doing fine here. We've got a positive 76 variance, but time-wise, we're still behind schedule. Notice that the forecasted total is now 396. The current forecast of 236 plus the actual of 160. Forecasted bar's color is still green. 396 is equal to 471 original plan plus the 160 actual minus the 235 actual burn down. And the 283 is 123 plus the 160. We repeat the steps required to prepare the next week's burndown chart. We're going to look at a different compression. The drop-down compression box allows you to select how many weeks you wish to compress into each bar. We have been viewing a 1-to-1 compression. Let's now look at a 2-to-1 compression. Now there are 2 weeks to each period on the chart instead of 1. As there are 13 fixed periods, a 4-to-1 compression would allow you to display an entire year on one chart. A 13-week compression would allow you to display quarterly data for over 3 years. The hours on the y-axis are automatically computed as the max times 105 divided by 10. These are automatically scaled. You don't have to worry about that. Blue or white background drop-down box controls the color of the background on the display of the chart. If you're actually going to print the chart, you may want to select white to save on ink. A couple of additional points are relevant. The project plan data is stored and identified by your user number and project number, so you may only have one burndown chart per user per project number. Multiple users and multiple projects per user can be accommodated. You may prepare burndown charts for portfolios of projects provided you have properly defined and scheduled the portfolio. Keep in mind that if you change the composition of the portfolio during the charting period, that you're going to corrupt the numbers associated with the portfolio, as the actuals will be dropped for projects that you drop out of the portfolio, and actuals be imported for projects that you add to the portfolio, and the forecast will be corrupted also. There's only one interface file prepared to interface between the scheduler and the burndown chart generator dialog. The interface file is generated when the schedule is prepared, and you'll always contain data from your most recently generated schedule, not one file for each project or portfolio. Should you make an error and wish to recover, you may do so using the backup dialog and selecting burndown charts from the drop-down select box. You may have noticed that the previous tutorial and generator dialog dealt exclusively with the burndown chart. The first version of the generator dialog not only prepared the burndown chart, the current version of the generator dialog prepares both the burndown chart and earned value chart. The process for maintaining the underlying time series is the same for both of the charts. That is why the dialog was renamed to the chart generator dialog and the EV chart button added. Here's the name change. There are now two buttons here. Prepare burndown chart, prepare EV chart. The process to maintain the underlying time series data is the same. You only have to do the import for the plan, the forecast, and the actuals and the title once, and you get the benefit of being able to prepare both charts. Here's what the burndown chart looks like at the end of the project. You can see here that we managed to turn the project into the black through the diligent use of task resources. And that we in fact finished prior to the end of the project. So not only do we have our positive cost variance, we finished 1 week early. Here's what the earned value chart looks like at the end of the project. This is the same project that we've been looking at for the burndown chart. Our earned value, which is denoted by green, is 0 here because we didn't do anything on the project for the first week. And here the actual went up by 10 because that's what we booked on 10 for that first week. The actuals are denoted by red, earned value by green, and the plan by blue. Here you can see we finished the project early, and we have a positive cost variance. We completed the project by not using up all the planned resources. Unlike the burndown chart, the colors of the lines on the earned value chart remain the same and do not change. Planned value is blue, forecast is light blue, earned value is green, actual cost is red. Here's an example of a chart with the project only partially completed. Notice the light blue forecast line. This is the forecast from the scheduler. Extends out from the green earned value line, which is actual earned value. So this is what has actually happened into your project and what's going to be forecasted. The red line here is the actual hours that you have spent on the project. There is an excellent article about earned value charts in wikipedia.org, Earned Value Management. I strongly urge you to take a look at it. That concludes the chart generator dialog tutorial PowerPoint presentation. You'll notice that on our actual chart generator dialog that we have here that we're just a little bit different. We've got a couple of new things that we added. We've got dollars, not hours. We'll go through that. We've got a pop-up box here that lists the plans that we have out on the file. So here's Tom's project. This is a program denoted by the G in the 4th position. And here's a test project with a J in the 4th position. And that tells you that that's a project. We're going to bring up the help screen here to go through a couple of things. Remember that this screen allows you to manage, control, and update the time series data that are used to generate the Burndown chart in the EVM Earned Value Management chart. The time series data originate from an interface file that is prepared when the schedule is run from the Schedule Manager dialog. Your first step in preparing the charts is to prepare a schedule using the Schedule Manager dialog. These Get New Plan, Save New Plan buttons, they're pretty much self-explanatory. Here's a couple points down here I want to review. The Reset Actuals. This button is only to be used after a Get Current Actuals when you have decided to replan a specific project or portfolio of projects. For example, assume that we have a portfolio of projects that has run for several years and has in excess of 10,000 hours associated with it. You wish to prepare a new plan for the portfolio going forward. You would prepare the schedule, get and save the new plan, get and save the new forecast, get the current actuals of those 10,000 hours, and then use the reset to set actuals to 0 at this chart date. The reset takes the amount 10,000 plus hours displayed and writes a record to the charting program file so that the amount can be subtracted each time you do a Get Current Actuals from then on in when you go forward and walk through the plan. You might have to do this to get the charts to display correctly, as each new plan erases the old one and starts to plan from 0. The scaling might be off if you have a 10,000 hours bump on the very beginning, and it might just look funny, so you might have to do that. After you do the reset once, the 10,000 hours would then automatically be subtracted from the new Get Current Actuals that you perform going forward each week. Two other things we should cover here is the delete plans. There is no delete plan button. To delete a plan from the chart plan file, use the Save New Plan button after a schedule has been prepared for a different plan number. The Save New Plan button will delete the project plan you have entered in the project number box and look for a new plan for that project number in the interface file and not find any. Versions. You may have multiple versions of the same plan stored by identifying them uniquely with a suffix of A through Z. When you get the new plan, get new forecast, get current actuals, the chart generator program will only use the first 8 characters of the project program number to match on the interface file from the schedule manager, even if you suffix with A through Z. When you do the save, the data will be saved with a suffix identifier, so you can generate a unique chart or bring up the data using that suffix. Now let's work through a real plan that we have on file here. This is a prog 1001. We get the chart title to make the chart generator dialog current on that data for that prog. And then we're going to look at the EV chart that was prepared last week. And here's the chart that we looked at last week. And you can see that I've got some negative earned value here. And then here's the forecast going through, and here's my actual 40 plus hours a week. Take a look at the Burndown chart. Here we see we've got a negative burndown of 118, which is a negative cost performance. We started out okay. Then I ran into trouble on one task, started running over on it. And then I also added a couple of tasks. I didn't perceive that I was going to have to do my income taxes and spend considerable amount of time on that during the week. So we added a couple of tasks. So the net effect is going into the red here for a little while. You also can look at the dollars, not hours. The chart generator dialog is able to display dollars because the scheduler behind the scenes provides a file with the actual hours of the individuals on the tasks with their individual billing rates extended, and then we also add in the actual costs or expenses that are associated with the booked task when they get booked into the task. You still have to do the get new forecast, get current actuals, and save in current as you walk through the plan for the dollars. So you have to do it on both sides, both the dollars and the hours. And we can take a quick look here. You can see basically telling us the same thing. There's not much difference. And you can see here the effect of adding tasks and also running over on a task. We've got negative burn down until we bring it back into line. And we see the same thing on the Burndown chart. Go back to the hours. One other little thing we should take a look at, alternate legends. For the earned value chart here, we can move the legend from here over to up here in the upper left. Sometimes the plot of the lines might interfere with the legend there, and this cleans it up a little bit. The alternate for the Burndown chart takes it from this area here and moves it down into the bottom. You might have a situation where your bars are up in this area. You want to do that. I think that's about it. I'll go back to we got a few minutes here. Let's walk through an actual update. I've already done the backups, the review of the stats reports and the timesheets. Didn't have any expenses. Now we're going to update the time period. That was last week. This is this week. That's how we walk forward during the week. You look at the schedule, run the new schedule. Status reports have updated the actual hours to the individual tasks, and we're going to prepare a new schedule just by pressing 1. Here you see the projects in my portfolio, and I can review my schedule here. If I don't like the schedule, I can go back into the Task Manager dialog, change the assignment, the priority, till I get the schedule where I want it. Okay, we're now going to get that new forecast, save the forecast, get the current actuals, save the current actuals, look at our new EV chart. And here you can see that we're actually going positive on the EV. I worked 41 and actually did 41 hours burn down. And here you can see where we ran into trouble. There's the 49 actual, 43 actual, 43 actual, 44 actual. But the burn down went negative, stayed flat, and went negative. Kind of came back here. And we can look at the Burndown chart. Tells us the same thing, just in a different format. What's nice about this weekly script menu is that even if you're not doing Agile Scrum, you're kind of doing Agile Scrum. And this is where you want to focus your attention, if you are doing Agile Scrum, to define and firm up your Scrum sprint for the oncoming time period. You can use the Task Manager, Schedule Manager to iteratively work through what your sprint time frame is going to look like. Debate it with your project team, agree on it, and then you have documentation to firm it up. And obviously you have your charting program to show that. Let's take a little bit quick look here at the Schedule Manager. Days to assignments, just to let you know that you can have varying time periods in your Scrum sprint. We can accommodate that. We've got a minute here maybe. Let's look at the program performance. Here's all your statistics on the program. And let's take a quick look at the dashboard. The dashboard has the gauges here that gives you a little bit better idea, a little bit better visual context of what's going on. Yep. We went back into the program menu. Okay, I think that's about it. I don't have anything more. So, thank you for spending the time to take the iStar PMIS tutorial on charting. Keep in mind that the charting dialog is only one of many online dialogues available in iStar PMIS to help you manage and track your project. To gain a complete understanding and get the full benefit of iStar PMIS, you'll need to take the series of 6 tutorials available on the iStar PMIS website, www.istarpmis.com. And we also have a certification program that goes along with the tutorials. Once again, I want to thank you for your time, and you have a great day.